start with the Chicago Bears. Coach Matt Nagy. Nagy. He, he's like up and down, man. It's like a stock market. Ding, ding, ding. One minute he goes to the playoffs, the next minute he's not in the playoffs. I mean, they made it last year, but once again, they're kind of like which a lot of NFL teams are. This quarterback carousel that a lot of teams are in. Um, we got to see, man. I mean, but that could change in a couple of years because gonna talk about this guy they drafted next. But I think they might. I think they might go to the playoffs again this year. The offense, Andy Dalton is a free agent, and so far Andy Dalton has looked good in Bears camp. But the question is how long he can hold off Justin Fields. That's the question because Justin Fields is look good too. He had a vacation between mini camp and training camp, and just like he just studied the playbook. That's what you want to see from your quarterback, especially if he's young. Running backs, oh man, David Montgomery. He was great last year. If Matt Nagy can be consistent in giving him the ball, I hope he does that this year. And then they have Tyreek Cohen, who's a good pass catching back out the backfield. He's phenomenal. The offensive line now. The offensive line has some issues on the left side because they did not bring back Charles Leno. Tevin Jenkins is not healthy, and as we all know, rookie left tackles need reps in training camp. So we'll see. And the tight end Cole Kmet. I mean, I think he's mostly a blocking tight end. I don't think tight ends are featured in Matt Nagy's system. I mean, I know he came from Kansas City, Travis Kelce, but I mean that's Travis Kelce though. So I mean, he fits in anybody's system, right? It's phenomenal. The wide receivers group is interesting. They're led by Allen Robinson, but I guess we'll see who's going to take a leap. So right now, so the defensive line is once again Eddie Goldman and Akeem Hicks. They're healthy. They're one of the best duos in the NFL. Linebackers, Danny Trevathan and Raekwon Smith. Once again, Raekwon Smith is that linebacker like that has that sideline to sideline ability, like Devin White, Bobby Wagner. And then once again, they have Khalil Mack on the outside. Let's see if Khalil Mack can get back to being one of the best. Last year, he kind of had a down year. So let's see if he can bring back prominence. The cornerbacks are Desmond Trufant and Jalen Johnson. Now, the question is, can Trufant be productive as Kyle Fuller? Because Kyle Fuller is gone. So if he's not, it's going to be a long season. But the safeties are good because they have Sean Gibson and Eddie Jackson. So they're good on the back end. Overall, it's going to depend on Coach Nagy's commitment to the running game. That's it, and the way the quarterback plays. Because the defense is set, but it's all going to depend on the offense. If he sticks to the run and Andy Dalton is he can just play okay. Then I think they're going to make the playoffs. What I think is, I think it's going to be a similar situation to like Baltimore, where Andy Dalton's going to come in. He's going to play good. He's going to play good. Unfortunately, he's going to get hurt like Joe Flacco did. And Justin Fields is going to take the reins maybe like week 9 or something, and they go on a run and make the playoffs because nobody has film on him. And so I do have them going to the playoffs, and their record is 10-7. All right, Craig.
Yeah, Matt Nagy, he's just kind of a middle of the road coach. They had the last 2 seasons, went 8-8. made the playoffs last year, had a chance to. They were in that game, and I believe I don't know who dropped the ball in the end zone. I guess the Saints, but he dropped the ball in the end zone, kind of changed the whole momentum of the rest of the game. And even with Trubisky and Nick Foles there last year, he kind of got a lot out of those two guys. Mostly Mitch Trubisky, like he got a lot out of him last year. So I'm assuming he can do the same with Fields or Dalton, whoever's the starter. I don't really expect Dalton to be the starter throughout the rest of the season. I just don't. I don't think he's that guy. I don't know what they saw in Dalton last year at Dallas that made him want to be like, okay, we need Andy Dalton here to lead this former playoff last year's playoff team. I think they could have just kept Mitch Trubisky there. I don't think they're like Dalton is that much better than Mitch Trubisky or vice versa. So I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand it. Could have still got Justin Fields and kept Mitch Trubisky there. Like I say, he did lead the team to the playoffs. Nothing special, but I just don't understand what they saw in Andy Dalton. I guess because he's a veteran or he had that experience with the Bengals leading the team to the playoffs all those years, but he never won. But whatever, I don't know. He's also 0-2 in the playoffs, so I mean they both kind of complement each other, having 0 wins in the playoffs. The quarterback situation, like I said, Andy Dalton versus Justin Fields. I don't think Dalton, if he plays like he played last year with Dallas, especially early on when he took over for Dak Prescott, he's not going to last too much longer. At the same time, you don't want your rookie quarterback taking big shots if he doesn't have to. So you kind of want to see it there for the veterans. So hopefully they can try to find a good time and place when to bring in, when to bring in Justin Fields. Not too early, not too late, because I really don't see this team making playoff run. So they're kind of just playing to see how good Justin Fields is, in my opinion. The running backs, like I like David Montgomery. He's kind of stepped up the last couple of seasons. Really good season last year. I think he's getting the ball more. Tariq Cohen's a great pass catching running back, although Montgomery can catch the ball out of the backfield. So you have two good running backs. Although Cohen's more of a pass catching running back, Dave Montgomery can do both. It's just going to be kind of how you want to spread out the backfield level, basically, for both of these guys. The receiving core, like I like Allen Robinson. I think he's probably top 10 wide receiver, borderline top 10 anyway. It's the rest of the guys that I have no clue about, like Daryl Morey, Marquise Goodwin, like who's going to step up to be that number 2 guy. Bird, I believe, is there. Damian Bird. No, not Damian Bird. Damiere Byrd. He's there. Like they have guys that could possibly step into that number 2 role, but like if you start double teaming Allen Robinson, it's like who's going to step up for that team? Like who's going to be that guy that says I want the ball and I'm going to make plays for this team? So Jimmy Graham's coming back again. Like he hasn't really been the same pretty much since he left New Orleans, and that was a long time ago. It seems like Cole Kmet. I don't know what they're expecting out of Cole Kmet. Like I just don't really have any high expectations for him either. I think he had like, 30 some catches as a rookie. So he's just really showing that he's not as good as a pass catching tight end as maybe I had thought he was going to be coming in. So overall, man, the offense has at least 2 really good players on offense, Robinson and Montgomery. It's just going to be the rest of the guys. What can the rest of the guys do? Can they step up and and take over and help this team out, especially help the quarterback out, because whoever it is back there, I don't really think they're going to have high expectations. The defensive line, the defense. Like the Bears' defense has been really good for years. Khalil Mack, he was injured sometime last year, and man, his WAR is the best as far as edge rushers or edge defenders go in the last 3 years with the Bears. Wins above replacement. So I expect him, hopefully, to have another solid year as a defensive lineman. Man, I am coughing out of control. Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan, the linebackers, they should have another solid campaign. They're 2 of the better linebackers, especially for this team, are two of the better linebackers, I should say, in this division. A great linebacker core, probably like a top 10 group. The secondary is going to be another question mark. They replaced Kyle Fuller with Desmond Trufant. I don't know about that one. So they still have Eddie Jackson there. Jalen Johnson, I believe, is the other cornerback. So we're going to see exactly what this group is made of on defense. But I still think it comes down to the defense is going to have to carry the team overall. I really don't know what they're going to get, like I said, out of the quarterback spot. And for that reason, I just have them going 7-10. I think they take a step back. I think eventually Justin Fields comes in and gets his licks and learns the offense, and it becomes his team to lead for next season. Matt Nagy is going to be on the hot seat again, and he deservedly so. But I just don't think that this team is going to be good enough to make the playoffs. Seems like every year is up and down, up and down. So I'm going 7-10 on the Chicago Bears.
All right. Wow. Okay. All right. Corey.
With Chicago Bears, I think a lot of it does start with the head coach there. Matt Nagy had a great first year. I believe won Coach of the Year, but he has struggled since. The creativity that he showed as a play caller that first year just hasn't really been there since that first season. It's never a good sign when your head coach that you brought in, because he's going to be taking over the play calling duties and going to be consistent for you, has to give up play calling duties because the offense looks so bad. I'm there with Craig. Matt Nagy is 100% on the hot seat this year. When it comes to the offense, Nagy doing the play calling, some of that's going to fall on him. The offensive line, I think, should be okay. James does make a good point, though, in that if Tevin Jenkins isn't ready to go to start the year, then there's some problems. Montgomery and Cohen are a pretty good duo out of the backfield. I do think Chicago would be smart to use more two running back sets. Try to make some mismatches, especially with Tariq Cohen coming out of the backfield. Get back to more of the creative play calling that Nagy was doing that first year. I'm there with you guys. They don't have a number 2 wide receiver opposite of Allen Robinson. Mooney showed some flashes last year, but it would be a lot to expect him to become like a legit number 2 receiver. I don't think Goodwin's that guy either. Behind them, Daz Newsome, the rookie, Javon Wims, Riley Ridley, you have guys, but them not going after a legit guy to try to put next to Allen Robinson, it was a bit of a head scratcher. I wouldn't be surprised if they run a lot of 2 tight end sets. You drafted Cole Kmet, so it seems like you should probably use him, especially when you don't have a number 2 wide receiver. Throw him and Jimmy Graham out there more, try to get matchups that way. But obviously everything with the Chicago Bears offense is going to come down to the quarterback. And so often it does come down to quarterback play, but the only question for me with this offense is how long is Andy Dalton going to hold off Justin Fields? Because it's not a matter of if, it's when. Defensively, not much left to say. Really good units. They've got legit playmakers across that defense with Khalil Mack, Keem Hicks, Roquan Smith. Replacing Kyle Fuller will be a big thing, but they've got talent all over that defense. The only question for the defense is, can they carry the team? And that's a lot to ask. They've been asked to do it for a few years now. So can they do it again? Overall, I think Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace are both their jobs are both on the line this year. And I feel like they had to know that going into the offseason, which is why them choosing Andy Dalton to be their starting quarterback was just so bizarre. They did get lucky when Justin Fields fell in the draft. They went and got him. But will they be the ones to see the fruits of that? Is it going to be enough for Justin Fields taking over, and if he can come in, the team start to look good and trend in the right direction towards the end of the season? Would that be enough to save their jobs? I don't know. Personally, I think the Bears are going to be going into this offseason replacing their head coach, replacing their GM, and probably wondering how much longer the window is going to be open for their defense. Because Khalil Mack's not a kid anymore. Hicks is that defense has been good for a while, but how much longer can it keep it going? So for me, I have the Bears at 5-12, and we'll see how Fields looks, but I don't know that he's enough to save Matt Nagy's job.
5-12, man, good gosh! All right.